This has been on Breaking News. I'm Ben Meiselas, and this is your breaking news. The headline, of course, Donald Trump saying, I'm going to change the name of Lake Ontario to Lake America. Don't be distracted by what he's doing. Obviously, we need to take it seriously, but why is he doing this right now? He's launched a disastrous trade war against Canada. Canada is fighting back and going elbows up. Donald Trump has destroyed the United States economy. Everything he promised his voters, they all now realize that he's lied about. Took him some time, but they realize that he's lied about. His approval right now in the United States of people who strongly approve him in the latest YouGov poll is only 13%. Let me repeat that. Trump's approval among Americans overall who strongly approve of him is 13%. You look at Texas, for example, in districts like Latino districts that Trump won by anywhere between 10 and 18 in 2024. All of these districts are now have Tallarico favored to beat Ken Paxton, and also the Democratic congressional candidates in Texas 15th, 28th, and 34 are all winning as well. Democrats have actually recruited a lot of great candidates in Texas. Trump's approval is plummeting. We're still in this never-ending and catastrophic war in Iran. The Trump regime threatened economic D-Day against Iran. Economic D-Day. China immediately responded, like laughing at us, mocking Besant. We stand strongly with Iran, is essentially what China's foreign ministry said. And then Russia's foreign ministry said the same thing, and their actions said the same thing. Next week, there will be the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and Russia has announced it will continue its nuclear discussions with Iran. Russia doing a $25 billion nuclear deal with Iran. This is in addition to the Bushehr facility, which is already a nuclear plant that Russia and Iran have done in a joint venture. And so the big trading partners of Iran are not backing down at Donald Trump's threats. Quite the contrary, they're laughing in the face of the United States. The United States has never been weaker in its entire history. You have all of these other alliances forming as the U.S. security umbrella has broken around the world, right? You have the United States running out of weapons. We're out of munitions. We're out of defensive munitions like Patriots, interceptors, Patriot interceptors, the THAAD interceptors, offensive weapons, ATACMS, Tomahawks. The United States military bases in the Middle East have been severely damaged by Iran. We don't have any ability to protect Europe anymore or Asia. So Donald Trump, the fraud, just goes and attacks Europe. He attacks Asia. So I give you that background because this is what Trump does. This is what he does, right? He'll do something that's incredibly outrageous, and everybody goes, could you believe it? Could you believe it? And the reality is, yeah, I can believe it. He's a psycho. He's a psychotic, demented human being. This is what he does. This is his playbook. This is his WMD, his weapon of mass distraction, while he is a WMD, a weapon of mass destruction against the United States. You know, you had Iran's main advisor to the Ayatollah Moshe Reza and others. They said, look, we're not trying to kill him or Barron. There's all these reports. And they said, look, this is Netanyahu propaganda in order to try to push the United States back into additional attacks on Iran, warfare, kinetic strikes on Iran. Although I hate the term kinetic strike. But Iran's like, if we wanted to do it, we'll do it. Like, why would we want to do it? The guy is destroying the United. We can't think of any person harming the United States or anything harming the United States more than Donald Trump right now. And I think that's just an objective damn fact. So let's take a look at what was going down this morning. And then you see what Donald Trump did in the Oval Office. So I'll show you this MAGA Iowan voter. This is someone who voted for Trump. And you're seeing Iowa particularly turning purple I think you'll see Iowa actually turn blue in both the governor's race and the Senate race, I believe, as well. But take a look at this MAGA Iowan. Let's play it.
2 years out of high school and I'm already struggling for my life. It's just, that's not the American dream.
If you could talk directly to President Trump, what would you tell him right now?
I would just look him in the face and just say, you. That's about it.
And that's the reaction that people who have been defrauded by Donald Trump his whole life of fraud, that's the reaction they inevitably have. When he doesn't pay the contractors, when he destroys the livelihood of people and doesn't pay them, when he wreaks havoc on communities. That's what he's done his whole damn life. And he promises, oh, you're going to be rich. You've never been this. You're going to be rich. The farmers, you're never going to do better. It's going to be amazing. Ranchers, I got your back. I love you. You know I love you. I'm just kidding. When he does things that, most human beings aren't able to lie every word, syllable, sound, sentence. He is. Everything he says is a lie. He doesn't care. He doesn't have feelings other than he just wants to take from you. The whole thing is snatching your money, stealing from you, criming. He's a sexual predator. He's a sicko. He's on the loose. He just grabs. That's all he cares. He doesn't care what happens to you. He doesn't care if you die. He wants you to die. You think he likes America? He hates the United States. He absolutely hates our troops. He thinks they are suckers and losers. He hates our country. He hates his voters. He hates his voters more than Democratic voters. He thinks they're the stupidest people in the world. He hates everybody. He just wants your fucking money at the end of the day. That's all he wants. In this moment, you'll see two Texas Republican voters who were on CNN last night. Did you catch this? Here, play this clip.
We've been fighting this for 3 years, and we realized that the Republican Party has given us nothing more than the middle finger. I have been a staunch Republican my entire life. I'm done. Anyone that was in office during this mess that hasn't supported us, it's not going to get my vote. And amazingly, we've had 2 Democrats, one absolute running for Congress and one running for governor, that were willing to come out and listen to us. Mm-hmm. Not the Republicans, the Democrats. Mm. And it's really changed my thinking. And this is a people thing.
That's what I've always said too. This is a lot of these issues, and the issue that drove him over the edge was that Greg Abbott, the MAGA governor, gave all of these incentives for data centers to go into Texas. Let them not have to even pay like their energy utilities as they drain the energy utilities. Like they didn't have to like pay, the energy cost is wild. All these incentives make Texas the data center capital, put data centers in your backyard. But it's everything that's going on, in the state as well, right? I mean, they're destroying the national park by the Rio Grande there in order to build a performative wall. That's not even like an actual wall, but they're like bulldozing the beautiful national park when no one's even crossing from that area. I mean, they've targeted the Latino voters who turned and voted for Trump in 2024 because he lied and said he's going to make them rich and this and that. I'm going to make you so wealthy. Everybody knows this guy is a con artist of the worst kind. Okay, there's no normal conversations to have. Dude's a felon. Dude's a sexual predator. I'm not being hyperbolic. He's found civilly liable for sexual assault. He's on audio tape bragging about sexually assaulting women. This is like a big scumbag. Stop acting like, oh, the Republicans and the Democrats. This guy's bad. And the people he surrounds himself with are losers also. Every one of them has a loser MAGA arc. They've all been losers in life, or criminals in life, or incompetent people in life, or just vile outcasts who nobody wanted to be around. And they found this MAGA cult where they can lie and lie and lie and be a shield and a sword for the oligarchs and funnel billions of your dollars to make people who are already beyond rich even richer. It's crazy. 3-time Trump voter in Iowa saying, yeah, I'm over the Trump thing. This whole thing's bullshit. I'm over it. Enough of this bullshit. Here, play this clip.
President Trump promised to bring down prices. You voted for him 3 times. Are you disappointed?
Very disappointed. Very disappointed.
Why?
Because the prices haven't gone down. I don't know. I'm over it, I think. Over the Trump thing. The Trump wagon, whatever you want to call it.
You could talk directly to the president about the war, about the prices, about the economy. What would you tell him?
Stop the bullshit. Make America great, like you said. That's what I'd say.
The whole thing is bullshit. Everything about the guy. The whole thing is a fake. It's a fraud. It's a fugazi. The guy's a liar. That's it. What about the great negotiator? I do deals, man. Deals, the art of the deal. Dude's never done a deal. He said, if you actually read Art of the Deal and don't, he basically says he views a deal not as something that is to be complied with in good faith, but he says it in the book. It's a trap in order to extract and take. That's not what a deal is supposed to be. Bad guy. You can't do a deal with him ever. There's no deal that Canada can do. And by the way, this goes for the Democrats too. You're not doing deals with Donald Trump, okay? You're not going to meet with Trump or people in his regime or people who pretend to be in the regime to solve problems. So just put that aside. The voters don't think, oh, I want the Democrats because they're going to do deals with Trump if they're not doing deals with him, okay? Just stop it. What the American people want is a political party. If it's the Democrats, so be it, or whoever the party is, who's going to hold these fascists, who's going to hold these criminals, who's going to hold the people who cover up the Epstein files accountable. That's it. That's what people are looking for right now. And then you get to 2028, and hopefully there's new leadership that could bring and inspire generational change. But I don't think I don't like to talk about, I'm not the political guy, okay? If you're looking for, I'm giving you a political shot, I'm the people guy. And it's clear you can't do deals with Trump, okay? So if I was a party running against Trump, I would say, we're not doing deals with this guy, okay? We will be relentless and ruthless in investigations and accountability. That's it. And we will make sure that we build what's necessary for a post-2028 world of accountability, and we will impeach the guy. We will, and on everything. If it's 1,000 things, do 1,000 things. That's it. That's what you're going to do. What are you going to, you think you're going to cut a deal with Donald Trump on the economy? You think you're going to cut a deal with Donald Trump on it? You're not doing any deals. Just stop. The guy can't do them. He's covering up the Epstein files, for God's sake. You think you can do a deal with him on something else? But what about our deal maker? What about the deal maker, Donald? Hey, Donald, you going to do a deal? We going to do a deal with Iran? This was the White House on Iran earlier. Caroline Leavitt. You doing negotiations? You doing negotiations? He's going to use those crafty deal-making skills, Caroline. Here, play this clip.
Operation Epic Fury to destroy their military. Now we have Operation Economic Outcast to destroy their economy. No negotiations are happening right now, and this will continue until the president feels that maybe they come to the table in a meaningful way. We have not seen that yet, but of course, that's at the discretion of the president. As commander-in-chief, he of course...
There was Operation Epic Fury, and before that, there was Operation Midnight Hammer. And then after that, there's Operation Economic Outcast. And then there's what new names? There was Operation Freedom. What would they call it? Operation Freedom. Okay, you're just making up names. You're making up corny advertising names. So what are you getting? ChatGPT to give you advice on corny advertising names? That's not a strategy to make up a freaking slogan. We're doing Operation Economic Outcast. Great work with Operation Economic Outcast, where China immediately says, yeah, we're not going along with that. Where Russia says, yeah, we're going to further discuss our $25 billion investment into Iranian nuclear capabilities. That great work on Operation Economic Outcast. But the projection by the Trump regime, it's almost so ridiculous and obvious that you're like, seriously, like you don't realize like how Operation Economic Outcast. That's literally what the Trump regime is doing to itself. They've outcast. We are the outcasts. This was a post. I kid you not. This was the post from Scott Bessent, the one who's doing this is Operation Economic Outcast. This is what he posted this morning. As the Iranian people struggle to afford basic necessities, the corrupt regime continues to squander enormous sums abroad. Instead of funneling billions of dollars to its terrorist proxies, the regime should spend that money for its people. It's like the most ridiculous post imaginable. Like I don't even want to even say it's projection. Like it's something beyond that. Like you're literally just talking about the United States. What do you even mean that the Iranians are squandering enormous sums abroad? I thought they're the economic outcast. Oh, they're not the outcast now. Now Iran is a global superpower squandering their money abroad. You're literally describing the United States. It's actually crazy. Just say, as the United States people struggle to afford, just literally put in the word United States. As the United States people struggle to afford basic necessities, the corrupt regime continues to squander enormous sums abroad. Instead of funneling billions of dollars to its terrorist proxies, the regime should spend that money for its people. How about you spend money for the American people? Wasn't that the whole thing? But just note that everything is always the opposite because he is a fraud. America first, of course it's going to mean America last. Trump's a con artist. He just knows what to say to defraud people because he's a predator. When Trump says, I've rebuilt the military, he's destroyed the military. We're out of weapons. We should never have been involved in the catastrophic war in Iran in the first place. But we're out of, if you're going to do it, and you run out of weapons in the first 40 days. Yeah, I know how you do it, because if you can't even run a freaking casino and you bankrupt all of those, you know, I think you're going to be able to handle the freaking military. Dude, Pete Hegseth couldn't run a small nonprofit veterans group. You're going to have that idiot, that loser. He's a lifelong loser, this guy. He shouldn't be any. I'm not saying this as a political person. This guy's a loser. Look at his background. He's a loser, and there are very serious allegations against the guy. He shouldn't be running the Defense Department. And note what he does right away. Corny marketing. Department of War, lethality. Rah, here's what we're going to do. Everybody fears us. Nobody fears you. You're a clown. Everybody knows it's just a bunch of freaking losers who aren't qualified. This is about leadership. This is about qualifications. And y'all don't have it every step of the way with these people. You know, you said, we're building the military. You destroyed the military. We're out of weapons. Everyone knows we're out. So MB Ghalibaf, Iran's parliament leader, goes, instead of funneling billions to its terrorist proxy Israel and 750 bases, this failing empire could spend that cash on its own people. But nah, that'd make too much sense for this regime. Scotty, man, question mark, although questioning Besant's manhood. Your credibility is on the line. Do something. Do something. And the credibility's done. It's tarnished. It's over. If you're going to say we're doing D-Day, like you have to use, like they ruin everything, right? They literally ruin everything. You know, they ruin everything. And so it's like D-Day. You're going to now equate this with D-Day, an actual heroic thing when the U.S. and its allies didn't say, okay, we're going to blow up everything, and then say, and then ask, you know, it's like Saving Private Ryan, the Trump version of it. You know, they're on the Trump version of Saving Private Ryan. You know, is they're on those speedboats and they're heading in, and then the bullets start to go, turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around, taco, 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 taco. That's what I mean. It's you know, it's even worse than that. I mean, for the Trump regime, it would just be announcing it. Hitler, we're coming. We're coming next Wednesday. Next Wednesday. Here's where. Here. Why do I have a Snoopy pen? Here. This is the beach. Normandy. It's right. This is where it's coming, Hitler. Okay, you scared? You scared? It's happening. That's how Trump would have done it. I mean, this isn't a political critique. This is just, this guy's an idiot. They're all idiots. And it's shameful what America looks like. So I give you that as background because I don't just want to report on, oh, Donald Trump said he's changing the name of Lake Ontario to Lake America. And by the way, as Prime Minister Carney says, the name Lake Ontario comes from the indigenous people there, which means the lake is beautiful, the lake is big. The name is more than 400 years old, predating Canada, predating the Declaration of Independence. And he goes, we know that America is changing their trading relationships, their foreign policies, their national monuments, their hydronyms. Canadians also know that naming reality means calling it Lake Ontario then, now and always. We got Charlie Angus here, by the way. Do we have Charlie? I want to bring in Charlie just so people can see Charlie, so I can tease that we've got Charlie coming in during the break. We've got Charlie. Charlie, we're going to take a quick break, but Charlie, let me play this clip first from the press conference. Charlie, of course, leads Meidas Canada on its way to 300,000 subscribers. Charlie leads the resistance tour there with the people. It's an honor to have always been in solidarity with Charlie and all the people in Meidas Canada. Let me just share this with everybody as well. This is what was posted earlier today by ASIN, where Donald Trump says, we're going to be changing the name of Lake Ontario to Lake America. Let's play this clip.
And finally, I guess the purpose of this more than anything else is we're going to be changing the name of Lake Ontario, effective immediately, to Lake America. That's going to take place right now as I sign the order. Do you have anything to say about it, Ben?
Yes, sir. So this is a straightforward but important executive order. It directs Secretary Burgum and the Department of the Interior to update the Geographic Names Information Service to reflect that the lake once known as Lake Ontario will, from this day forward, be known as Lake America.
Charlie, I know you've got a lot to say. We'll take our first quick break of the show. When we come back, Charlie Angus, the leader of Meidas Canada. We'll be right back.
Do you snore? Did somebody hand you a CPAP and did you quietly stop using it? The mask that never quite seals, the hose tugging at you every time you roll over, and a machine sitting abandoned in a closet. Well, Excite OSA works a different way. It treats a root cause instead of managing the noise, and you use it while you're awake. It's an FDA-cleared prescription device for primary snoring and mild obstructive sleep apnea. And here's what the routine looks like. 20 minutes once a day. While the coffee brews, while you watch one episode of something daily for 6 weeks, then a lighter routine to keep it. Most people notice a change in just 4 to 6 weeks. And then, when it's actually time for bed, you go to bed like a person. Nothing strapped on, nothing plugged in. In clinical studies, 90% of patients saw a reduction in snoring. And getting started is simple. No sleep lab, no waiting room. You answer a few questions online, a licensed provider reviews them, and it ships to your door. See if it's right for you. Get Excite OSA at springsleep.com/Meidas and use code Meidas for 20% off. Again, that's Excite OSA at springsleep.com/Meidas, MEIDAS. Thanks to Spring Sleep for sponsoring this episode. Excite OSA is an FDA-cleared, prescription-only device for primary snoring and mild obstructive sleep apnea. Not for everyone. Individual results vary. Risks and benefits at springsleep.com. I love grilling in the summer, but once you get beyond burgers and steaks, it can become a whole production. Veggies fall through the grates, fish sticks or falls apart, and somehow cleanup takes longer than dinner. That's why I've been using Hexclad's barbecue collection. Their barbecue grill pan gives you the searing power of stainless steel, the durability of cast iron, and the convenience of non-stick. Their perforations still let the heat and smoke through, so you get that real grilled flavor without sacrificing half your food to the grill. They've also got the new barbecue grill topper for delicate foods and bigger batches, and the barbecue bundle gives you the grill pan, hybrid cutting board, and carving set. It's an awesome setup, especially if you grill a lot during the summer. So if you're planning on spending a lot of time behind the grill this summer, don't make it harder than it needs to be. Stop losing food through the grates, stop fighting cleanup, and upgrade your backyard cooking setup with Hexclad's barbecue collection. From August 20th through September 8th, you can get up to 52% off Hexclad and upgrade your kitchen for the new season. Just head to hexclad.com/Meidas. That's HEX CLAD.com/Meidas, MEIDAS. Support our show and let them know we sent you. Again, head to hexclad.com/Meidas. That's HEXCLAD.com/Meidas, MEIDAS. Support our show and let them know we sent you.
Welcome back. We've got Charlie Angus, the leader of Meidas Canada. Meidas Canada is about to turn 1 year old on Labor Day, already close to 300,000 subscribers, and working hard on the petition to say goodbye to Pete Hoekstra, the despicable U.S. ambassador to Canada. That's picking up steam. I think you're close to 300,000 signatures on that petition, well on its way to 1 million. We'll talk about that. We'll talk more about Meidas Canada. But Charlie, before the break, I showed you what Trump did in the Oval Office today, the performative, I'm changing the name of Lake Ontario, da, 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 da. I also wanted to let people know before showing that the U.S. is in total chaos right now. And so this is part of what Trump does. But talk to us about what you view this as and give us your perspective, Charlie.
Well, I would think that if Donald Trump was wanting to take a position on a body of water, he'd be focused on the Strait of Hormuz. But he's completely destroyed that. And so you can see the economic numbers across the United States. So we are, from the Canadian side of the border, we're 1 week into Operation Epic Fool. And what we're witnessing is classic. They came, they threatened, they huffed and puffed, and we walked away, and they couldn't believe it. Over the last week, our prime minister has been invited to speak to the leaders in the EU. Our relations with Europe are getting stronger and stronger. Our revenue minister was meeting with India about trade. And I think they're just doing this to troll the Trump gang. But Melanie Joly, our excellent industry minister, was announcing all the brain drain coming north. We are poaching serious researchers and scientists and that to come work in Canada. Meanwhile, we've been focused on our tariff war has been really specific, real focused body blows. They're going after key factories. They're going after key parts that are going to be very crucial for the American economy in the red states coming into the to the midterm. So we've been very focused, and we've collected our first white flag. It is Taco Thursday. Yep. After all the threats they made, they're now backtracking quickly on having threatened French language rights in Canada. And, in Canada, French language rights, those are fighting words. So what they've done with that is really unified all the parts of the country around the French population in Quebec. The separatist movement in Quebec are now sort of hiding under the table. They're not talking about separation. Maple MAGA is deteriorating under pressure. And so what does Trump do? He signs this crazy executive order renaming the lake. It looks pathetic, Ben. And I think people are saying, that's it. That's as good as it gets with this past week of threats and huffing and puffing. You're going to try and rename of all lakes, Lake Ontario, where you have, all the populations like along that lake who trade and work together from both sides of the border. It's looking really pathetic.
Yeah, and I think the behavior that you've seen from these Trump regime officials, even after the bad faith tactics by the Trump regime made the deal fall apart, just show why you can't do deals with the United States. It's very public. Their behavior about, you got to stop retaliating against us or else. It's retaliating because you're attacking them. This going into the victim cocoon that the Trump regime does, the posting of the eagle attacking the Canada goose. And then it turns out that in that video, the Canada goose actually beats the eagle in the fight, and then the Lake Ontario situation. But it just shows you can't do deals with, and it's a message to the world also that reminds me a lot of Carney's speech in Davos about a shifting world paradigm. You can't do deals with this psychotic regime unless you're like the new dictator in Colombia or the dictator in Ecuador or a Trump proxy from Miami who he's installed, where you're going to let American troops go in there in order to extract all of your resources and turn it into enriching Trump and the oligarchs.
Well, Ben, I think the really important thing to talk about, and the Midas viewers understand this, but I watch, American coverage, and they don't get it. They think this is a trade dispute. This is outright war, and Canadians are coming together in really incredible ways. We posted through our Midas online work about a farm in Manitoba that was concerned because if they couldn't get their honey across the border, that they were going to go bankrupt. And we posted about it. Other people posted. By the end of the day, they were begging people to stop calling because they had to set up an online store because so many people were out to buy their products. There's a Syrian family in Nova Scotia, Syrian refugees who set up a chocolate shop. They can't keep up with the orders because people are really taking these serious measures to show our support for one another. So Mark Carney has an enormous base to work from, but he also has real clear instructions. The Canadian people, as you say, Ben, know this man is a criminal. They know he's a predator. There is no dealing with him. So we're in a very, very interesting position. 1 week in, it looks like the other side's falling apart and screaming and hollering and shouting, and our side is staying pretty cool. But I would like to make an offer to the MAGA regime and those behind it. I think you've got to move Donald out. I think he's decrepit. I think he's creepy. I think nobody believes him. I think you need to bring Lego Man from Iran. We don't know that Lego Man has had anything to do with Epstein sex cases, but we know Donald Trump, his name's all over the file. So I would rather, as a Canadian, negotiate with Lego Man at this point. And as for the word of what comes out of the White House, it means nothing. This guy was a criminal grifter from the get-go, and it's all coming home now.
You have, when you say this is actually war and this is how it's being viewed, I think it's important to understand that when the Trump regime talks about the Don Roe doctrine and what they mean for the Western Hemisphere, that this is a broader plan as Trump sees the world, where Putin gets all of Europe, Xi Jinping gets all of Asia. Donald Trump doesn't think about Africa. So, I guess his view is Putin and China, you can carve up Africa. But Trump has the Western Hemisphere, and he has that map. And Trump's view of it, in my view, is very much like, and I'm just giving you my opinion, very much like a Hitler mindset. Trump sees the map and he wants to take over a lot of places, and he's doing that right now. And what we see actually happening, and I did an interview that's going to be airing tomorrow morning with Camilla Lourdes Galarza, who's in Ecuador, and we talked about the Noboa regime, that's the dictatorship in Ecuador. And then we talked about Bukele in El Salvador, and we talked about Milei in Argentina. And we talked about the new leader who's a Miami lawyer, who was a lawyer for a lot of the drug traffickers in Florida, who became the Colombia president, Alvarado de la Espriella. U.S. has ground troops in these places. The U.S. has CIA. They're doing drone strikes. They're killing people. The prosecutors who investigate the killings are getting killed. The witnesses are getting killed. We talk a lot about these war, the Iran war that the U.S. is in. But I want to also note there's actual wars happening that gets no coverage in the Western Hemisphere right now. And this is how Trump sees Canada. It's not, to your point, it's not. He actually wants to send troops in and invade it and take it over. And it's not a joke. He wants it to be the 51st state. And he wants to see the Canadian people be subjects of him. That's what he wants. That's what's actually happening right now.
Well, Ben, I think this is really important because there is a danger of just treating it as a joke. I think as Canadians, we have to keep our spirits up and recognize how ridiculous he is. But he's extremely dangerous. He's extremely vicious. He's shown this through his entire career, his viciousness and his recklessness. And there is an element of the Führerbunker around him right now as things are starting to fall apart. He has said on multiple occasions that he thinks he should be able to arbitrarily move the border. Move the border 50 kilometers, he said at one point, maybe 100 another. That's the Great Lakes. So you arbitrarily move the border, that's an invasion. That is a statement that we will now just have a provocation and do something to take your country. And so we see the statement that he made on Lake Ontario. It's very much talking about why it belongs to the United States. It is part of that threat. We are treating it sort of as a joke, but I think most Canadians fully understand the nature of the threat. This is why Canadians are very focused, talking all the time. People have, peaceniks I've known my whole life are talking about defense here. I think the one thing that's stopping Donald Trump from doing something that reckless is that he's kind of spooked by the determination of the Canadian people. But that being said, the U.S. Embassy in Ottawa is actively undermining us. Pete Hoekstra, the ambassador, is actively intervening and in our nation's affairs. This is why the petition to have him expelled and to call for hearings into U.S. interference, because we see these patterns across the Americas. They don't see us any different than what they're doing in El Salvador or Colombia. They see us as a place that they can interfere and undermine and threaten and break up and take leaders out if necessary. The one thing stopping them right now are the Canadian people.
And I want to talk before we go about the Maple MAGA. And obviously, people in Canada know what we're talking about. And at this point, to me, I've always viewed the MeidasTouch network as a international democracy network first and foremost. And so I think our viewers have a huge body of knowledge now about what's going on in the world, which has been the biggest priority for me and how we've built this thing. But Canada was having this trend, the way the US was moving. You had your own vessel. Pierre Poilievre Trump was our vessel here, but we can go look at Orban. We can look at these dictators in South America. There is this authoritarianism on the rise internationally. And Canada, of course, saw what was happening in the United States and Trump's attacks. And then Prime Minister Carney, came at a moment where you had a banker, a central banker, someone with those bona fides against the bankrupter, and there was a dynamic there. But you still had the Pierre Poilievre. It's like the end of a Terminator movie. The guy loses his riding, he loses his seat, and then he somehow spawns again, and you're like, dude, where'd you come from again? Why are you around? You lost your own riding, and for our American viewers, that's like your congressional seat. And so he stole somebody else's riding. It's like, give me your congressional seat. And so you had all of that, Charlie. But you still in Alberta, you have Danielle Smith, who's Maple MAGA, is really the only, the main kind of premier who's Maple MAGA, like that out, so outwardly like that. But not to say there's not others. But talk to us right now, because I'm seeing lots of people and old conservative leaders, new conservative, who are saying, dude, you can't both sides this. They're trying, look what they're doing. Look what they're doing. So talk to us about that.
Well, it is really amazing, and Pierre Poilievre is now totally on the margins. He has lost so much credibility, so he's not being a factor right now. But at the provincial levels, we're seeing Pierre Poilievre backed a MAGA leader of the Conservative Party in British Columbia, and I think they've had 12 of their elected members quit and leave or get thrown out. I mean, they're in free fall. In Saskatchewan, Premier Moe, who's like he's Maple MAGA. He's getting hammered over the booze boycott because Saskatchewan didn't go with the booze boycott. He's having to now be on Team Carney. He's feeling a lot of pressure because people in Saskatchewan are really angry that they have not been strong. But it's most interesting with Danielle Smith, who is absolute total Mar-a-Lago, Maple MAGA, Trump, traitor Quisling, who has done everything to undermine us time and time again. And the people in Alberta are out every day. There's rallies happening all over. So that's exciting. But you're seeing a lot of traditional conservative voices in Alberta stepping up. Thomas Lukasik, who's run this sort of Forever Canada campaign, has done an amazing job. He's now calling her out, saying, you shut this referendum down. You're threatening our country. But the other really interesting voice speaking up is Jason Kenney, who was in many ways the founder of the Maple MAGA movement. He's telling the people of Alberta, that they have to put oil on the table with the agenda in fighting the American government, that oil has to be part of the trade threat. Danielle Smith has done everything to protect MAGA. She's done everything to protect the oil industry's relationships with MAGA. But Jason Kenney, the guy who pretty much started the Maple MAGA movement, is now coming out and saying, these people are traitors. I'm going to call them out. So she's being torn apart from her own ranks, while the regular, ordinary people who come across all political spectrums, Alberta's got a long history of really progressive, conservative, reasonable people who are conservatives. They're out there fighting. They're on Team Canada. So Maple MAGA is disintegrating, as the fool in the White House is doing every day. He does something stupid and threatening to us. It builds Canadian solidarity in a way that we couldn't have imagined 2 years ago. So we get stronger every day. The fight we're just in the beginning stages, Ben, but we are in the fight of our lives, and I'm feeling like we're going to get through this.
I want everybody to subscribe to Meidas Canada. Charlie Angus runs Meidas Canada. He's got full independent, 100% editorial. Everything is Charlie over there. It's just an honor being in solidarity with Canada, to see how we can bring international communities together under an umbrella of pro-democracy. And Charlie, before we go, and as we celebrate the first year of Meidas Canada, and the incredible work you've done there and the growth we've seen on that YouTube channel, where can people learn more about the petition that you've been telling people to sign about Hoekstra?
Oh, yeah. So the Pete Hoekstra petition, parliamentary e-petition. So the language in this petition are great. I wish I'd written it, but it was written by Leanne Walker from Calgary, a great resistor. It was approved by the legislative branch lawyers, because you don't just bring a petition to Parliament and get it signed off on unless it meets the test. It's calling for Pete Hoekstra to be made persona non grata for his interference. It's calling for investigations and parliamentary inquiry into U.S. interference in our country. It is parliamentary petition E7531. So if you're a Canadian citizen, all you got to do is sign that. You put your name, your address, your email. Parliament of Canada will send you a code or check to make sure it's you, and then it goes in. We will have this. I think we're at about 300,000 plus now. I can't keep up, but this is going to be the biggest parliamentary petition in Canadian history, and it's telling MAGA and the U.S. Embassy, we know what you're doing, and you are not going to get away with this. And your MAGA dude, Pete Hoekstra, is a troll, and we want him gone. We're going to pack his bags. And Ben, Pete and I have had conversations in the past, and I've invited him out for a beer or two just to try and give him some advice. Well, we're past the advice stage. It's time to pack the bags and send him to the border.
Charlie Angus, everybody. Subscribe to Meidas Canada. Thanks, Charlie. We'll take our last quick break. We will be right back after this quick message.
Thank you.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack sponsor. IQ Bars are better for you, clean plant protein bars packed with fiber and brain-boosting nutrients with zero added sugar. You no longer have to choose between healthy or delicious snacks. IQ Bar's plant protein bars are packed with high-quality ingredients to help keep you physically and mentally fit. You won't find any unrecognizable ingredients on their label. The number one ingredient in their bars is almonds. IQ Bars are great for any diet, whether by choice or due to allergies. IQ Bars are free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial sweeteners. Try any of their 9 delicious flavors, including mint chocolate chip, chocolate sea salt, banana nut, toasted coconut chip, lemon blueberry, and peanut butter chip. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are starting their days on the right foot with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. Obviously, these bars taste great, but the real benefit is how they make you feel. When I've got my IQ Bars, I feel great and I'm ready to take on the day. Most protein bars hurt my stomach. It's so nice to have one that's actually clean and includes fiber. And right now, IQ Bar is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus get free shipping. To get your 20% off, text TRUTH to 64,000. Text TRUTH to 64,000. That's TRUTH to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. Here's something most people aren't told about their credit score. It's not just whether you pay your credit cards, it's when you pay them. Yeah, most people don't realize that. I know I didn't. But Smart Credit's data experts understand how credit bureaus operate. So they created something called the best paydown date, built around how credit reporting actually works. So instead of guessing, you get personalized strategy that shows you what to do and when to do it to help you maximize your score. And that matters because better credit can mean lower payments and more money in your pocket. And this is where it gets interesting, so listen up. You can see your full credit picture in one place, your score, what's affecting it, and if something needs attention, you can take care of it right there. So before you apply for anything, a car, apartment, refinance, it makes sense to start with Smart Credit. Go to smartcredit.com/Meidas and try it for just $1. You may be surprised to see how many points Smart Credit estimates that you can gain. That's smartcredit.com/Meidas. Results vary. Cancel anytime.
Welcome back, everyone, to Ben on Breaking News. The great Charlie Angus. Such an honor to be able to work with Charlie, seeing what he's built with Meidas Canada, seeing what he's built his entire career as a member of parliament with the NDP party. He's always been on the side of workers and labor and miners. And he's always been on the side of the mining community over there. And so it's great to have Charlie aboard. I'll share this with you as well. A grinning Natalie Harp following Donald Trump aboard Air Force One. You can see over here as Donald Trump is leaving the White House. I mean, how utterly embarrassing right there. And I will share with you just from that Oval Office disastrous press conference that Donald Trump had. He was asked before leaving, like, what the hell is even like what the hell is this? Like, what the hell is going on right there? I think we all know what's going on right there. But look, the issue is what his priorities are. First, there's national security issues that I believe, in my opinion, too. But look what he's focused on. Look what he's doing, including what we talked about earlier. Lake Ontario, you're naming, it literally means big lake, Great Lake. And no, we're going to call that Lake America. Dude, it was called Lake Ontario before the U.S. existed and before Canada existed. I mean, how stupid are you? But he's doing that while you are paying record gas prices, while you are paying record diesel prices, while the PCE inflation readout was hotter than expected, while the American people have the lowest consumer confidence essentially in history right now, while people can't afford homes and can't afford their rent, while people can't afford health care, while all of this is going on, it's like, this is what you're doing, man. While you got us into a catastrophic war, while our service members are suffering, while you've destroyed our alliances abroad, it's like just clown behavior. And really, again, we know Trump's approval is at an all-time low. And I think the Republicans, I truly feel that in this midterms, they're going to get wiped out like no one's ever, like we've never seen in an election. I don't think there will be a precedent. If you looked at what's been happening in these special elections where Democrats overperform by 12, 15, 18 points, and then you look at the generic and then you factor in an overperformance, I think people are wildly underestimating the reaction by the American people to the Trump regime. And the reality is, though, I don't think the Democratic Party should necessarily take that as an endorsement of them yet. You need to fight and earn people's trust. The American people want accountability, and they want to return and restore checks and balances to the system. And the American people, by and large, feel the Trump regime is a bunch of war criminals, that they cover up child sex trafficking, that they only care about enriching Donald Trump and do social welfare for billionaires while screw over everybody. The American people know that this regime are evil, demonic, bad people. And I don't even think the American people view it as like, oh, well, the Republicans. I think there's like, these are bad people who have caused us harm, who have lied to us, and they treat us like we're stupid every day. I think it's very simple. And I think that it is incumbent upon any opposition party to make it very clear that the opposition will be just that: robust, ruthless, rigorous, and that will be the primary focus. And to articulate those goals and not to pretend there's deals that are going to be had with bad people. It was Warren Buffett who first said, though Wab Kinew, the premier of Manitoba, also said it thereafter, but it was a Buffett quote, I believe, originally. You can't do a good deal with bad people. You can't do any deal with Donald Trump, ever. He just can't do a deal with him. You can't give an inch to the guy, he takes your life. That's just it. That's just the reality of the situation. That's it. All right. A reporter asked Donald Trump, hey, man, so you spent your day attacking Canada. Why are you doing this? Number one. And the reporter's like, there are reports that Putin is meeting. I'll show both of these first. First, the reporter says, there are reports that Putin is meeting the president of Iran next week. Is there a concern since they're talking about building Iran's nuclear facilities? Like, does this concern you? You announce economic D-Day, and then Russia and Iran announce more nuclear cooperation. It wasn't your whole thing. You were going to obliterate Iran's nuclear capabilities. So, and didn't you just send your CIA director, John Ratcliffe, to meet with Putin or to meet with the head of the intelligence in Russia? And this is their response the day after. Does that concern you, Donald? Here, play this clip.
There is reports that Vladimir Putin is meeting with the president of Iran to talk about a nuclear agreement next week. Is there concern in the administration, in the White House, that these countries aren't taking economic D-Day seriously, that they're going to continue doing business with Iran despite the warnings?
Iran is right now, they're not paying their troops. They're in deep trouble. They have very little capacity. Last night, we took 24 boats through the strait. We're taking them through all the time. I say it very openly. It doesn't mean we're finished with the military, but the strait is open, as you know. The Strait of Hormuz is open. We have control and we have the blockade. Iran's not getting anything. Nothing is going through. Not one ship has gotten through.
Will you punish Putin or Russia if they continue
Well, it
to do
depends.
business
It depends.
with
So
Iran?
far, I think Russia's behaved quite well, having to do with the Strait of Hormuz. And you have to understand, for everything they do, we do also. You know, somebody was saying about China, what about China? We hear they're spying. We spy on them too.
It's hard to even express the stupidity there. They've been great. The question was, are you concerned that Russia is helping move nuclear material very publicly to Iran? I think they've been great. We do the same thing also. You know what it'd be like if, remember watching the World Cup, right? And Spain versus Argentina. And, when Argentina scores, you have Spain celebrating. Go, yeah, we score, you scored in our goal. You want us to help you out, score in our goal. Like, he has no sense. It's a stupid example, I guess. But you're the president of the United States, you idiot. But he doesn't care because he hates the country. He hates his job. He doesn't like, he's not he's not representing the United States. He's representing Trump and the Trump company to steal your money and to sometimes give money to billionaires who give him money and who stay in his good graces by giving him gold shit. That's it. He doesn't care about the country. He doesn't care about our troops. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about it. He doesn't care about anyone. He doesn't care about anything. This is the him show. And that's all he wants. I'll show you the other clip right here. This is from that same presser where the reporter says, but why are you spending all your time attacking allies? Like, why not spend your time like allies, same team, versus other team. Why have you spent this whole press conference praising Putin, praising Xi Jinping? Xi Jinping said, we won't go along with economic D-Day. Like they're mocking you, Donald. The people who want to do harm are saying we want to harm you, and they're mocking you. The allies who have been here to help, you're attacking. Does that seem odd to you? Listen to what he says. Let's play it.
Things like this towards America's allies instead of doing things that...
Well, they haven't treated us well. The Canadian officials have treated us very badly. They're nasty people. They charge our farmers 400% tariffs. They've been doing it for a long time. And I had them figured out in my first term, and I did some pretty strong things and had it getting pretty good. And then the election was rigged, and now I'm coming back and doing it the way and finishing the job. But they treat us very badly. Canada treats us very badly. I would say that of all countries, as you know, we have President Xi coming in a couple of weeks. We deal with a lot of people, and people oftentimes, they'll ask me, who's the worst to deal with on trade? And I said, that's easy, Canada. They are the worst to trade, and they feel entitled, and just we can't have that.
President Xi doesn't like you, you idiot. He thinks you're a fool and you're a clown and a loser, and that you've provided a fast forward button for China to achieve its overall objectives that I think it thought was 50 years away from being realized. You sped it up. And he even answers the question about why do you attack your allies by saying, I need to fit, he lies obviously about the 2020 election because he's a sick and demented person. But then he also goes, I needed to finish the job. You needed to finish the job against Canada? What are you talking about? You're going to finish the job on Canada? And you talk to Xi Jinping and then you mock Canada together? Okay, you think that makes you look stronger? You doing that with Xi Jinping, he's like, got it. Like, this guy's an idiot. That's how the world thinks about you. That's how the world thinks about you. And then finally, I want to show everybody this clip. I thought the speech that Abdul El Sayed, Dr. El Sayed gave in Michigan, I think it was in Farmington Hills, was a great speech. Did you catch that? I did a video where I covered the full speech, but I wanted to show you part of it where I thought was just A+. Let me share this with you. Let's play it.
And I just want to point to two issues right now that we're dealing with. Number one, as hard as he tries, this guy wants to pretend like he never met Donald Trump. I don't know who that is. Who's that? And Donald Trump, because he can't resist the red meat, can't seem to keep my name out of his mouth. Habibi, if you can't say the name, don't say the name. Abdul. We gotta say it like that, man. It's creepy. Abdul. Holds on to the L a little too long. Oh, Abdul. You know, Natalie's gonna show him this clip and he's gonna be so mad. Abdul. Try Abdul Rahman.
And then you had MAGA Mike Johnson in Texas today, where the MAGA Republicans are on the ropes right now. And a very desperate and scared and panicked MAGA Mike said, if we lose the midterms, everything we built will be destroyed. The economy's going to crash. The stock market will go bust. It will destroy our power abroad. It will undermine us internationally. So I just want to make it clear. This is always the plan of the con artist and the fraud. The arsonists destroy it. Everything that he's talking about, the wheels are already in motion right now or have happened, right? Our economy is, for most Americans, horrific right now. If you want to say that the stock market is up a little bit, well, I mean, it's built on this kind of AI pump that's been taking place that feels like a circular kind of funding structure of lots of CapEx spending that's coming from the exact same sources. And lots of people can see at least some of the design of a bubble that's right there kind of before our eyes. But in any event, this is what they do. They want to blend. We by the way, GDP growth's anemic. It's like what, 1.4%. Inflation, significantly higher than when Biden left office. And so now they basically say, look, what'd they tell us? End of 2025, Trump owns the economy. He should own it at the beginning, but end of 2025. First quarter 2026. We got you second quarter 2026. And now, what do they say? Because they're con artists. 2027. We got this. 2027. We're going to fix everything then. We got it. And then they're going to lose the midterms. And then they're going to say, Trump was so close. He built it. We had everything. The first year was the appetizer, whatever stupid thing they say. Then the second year was the banquet. And it was about to all be unleashed. But then the Democrats won, and that foiled everything. They're giving you the playbook of what they do. This is what Trump did after his first term. And this is the cycle that we need to get out of as a country. Because this cycle, where the arsonists burn it down, then someone needs to fix it. And the arsonists then say, we're fiscal hawks, we're China hawks, we're this hawk, we're fiscal conservatives, we're this. Bullshit. You are the arsonist. You are the con artist. You created the fire. You created the problem. Then you want to dump it on someone. And then because they're just liars, and the normal human reactions that you and I and others experience that stop us from like being a liar in every sound, so that they don't care. They don't care that they're the ones who brought us $40 trillion in debt and rising inflation and the highest gas price. They'll be like, we stopped it. And now look, you made it higher. It's like, no, you did it. You did it. And then their $1 trillion media machine then just starts to push all of this. And then you're seeing it in action right now, where they then try to demonize and nonstop, and then Fox and all the right-wing propaganda media. We need to get out of this cycle. So we have to recognize what the playbook is. And MAGA Mike shows us the playbook here. Let's play that clip.
The reason that we are doing that is because people like you understand the stakes are so high, right? This is for all the marbles. We cannot lose this midterm. I want you to imagine a nightmare scenario with these insurgent Marxist Democrats taking over the Congress. They would impeach the president on the first day. They've already said what they're going to do. They'll convert every committee of Congress into an investigative body. They'll spend every waking hour investigating the president and his family and the cabinet and going on this lawfare exercise. It would roil the markets. It would undermine people's confidence in the U.S. and the economy. It would empower our enemies across the globe at the worst possible time. We cannot allow them to do that, okay? The problem that we have right now is that the people coming behind us don't understand how dangerous these ideas are. They don't understand that socialism is a road to ruin. They don't understand that socialism is a step to get to communism. It's Marxist philosophy. They thought communism would be the utopia, the perfect society. They're dead wrong, okay?
Like crazy humans. Like that is truly a crazy, psychotic human being right there. And stop normalizing it. Like that is really like a sick, demented human, MAGA Mike. I mean, like, do you think that we didn't experience these last 2 years? Y'all were in control. But this is what they do, because they don't have a soul. They don't have a conscience. They cover up child sex trafficking publicly. They are the Epstein class. They are the demonic class. They are the cabal. They are all of the things that they warned about. They are that. And they don't care about anything but making sure you suffer, that making sure they destroy America, that our troops suffer, and that they tear to shreds every aspect. And they're not happy until they see everybody who's as miserable as them. And until their dear leader can take all of your money and all of your earthly possessions, and that's what they want. That's it. That's their end game. So stop acting like this is a normal political time and I'm going to make a deal with these. You know, maybe I'm going to meet with these guys and make a deal. You're not going to do anything with them. Stop it. Cut it out. You have to recognize these are demonic, bad humans who have spent the last 2 years sending ICE and Border Patrol, Gestapo to torture people. It's happened. These are people who are attacking Canada. These are people who have torn apart our alliances. These are people who have allowed Donald Trump to do 21,000 stock trades in the Oval Office and grift billions of dollars while they talk about golden ballrooms. And these are also scared and pathetic losers. And when you step up to them, you see that they are as weak as can be, hiding in catering containers when they could be aboard Air Force One, the most protected aircraft after a NATO summit, cowering with Natalie in a catering container in Turkey. I cannot think of an image more embarrassing for the United States. It's just, it is mortifying. It is shameful. And they want to act. They want to pretend that this is the golden age, that this is great right now. They've ruined the United States. They've ruined it. And now they want to create a boogeyman. You did it. It's happened. That's what it feels like to me. And I know when I hear you, that's what it feels like to you. And I know, like me, you don't view any of that, what I said, through a strictly political and partisan lens, right? I don't think anything I've even said in this episode, if anything, I think I've been critical of the Democratic Party on stuff. This isn't low. This is Republican fascist. We need bold opposition, and we need people to earn our trust who will stand up. And if and when the Democrats win the midterms, and I think they will win the House and the Senate, they need to show that this ain't status quo. They need to stand up and be strong, and they need to stand up and fight for us and fight for you. That's what I want to see happen. And that's what we're going to fight for here. Accountability, transparency, bringing out the truth, connecting international movements of freedom, democracy. Keep checking in on the MeidasTouch network, okay? We got to keep on growing this together. We got to keep on growing this together, okay? We'll do this. We're growing this thing. Subscribe to Meidas Canada. Let's get them 300,000 subscribers. I got the Brother Show tonight. I hope to catch you there. I just did a video about MAGA Mike Johnson's deranged speech. I hope go watch that video when this is done, by the way. And I interviewed the new president of AFSCME, Patrick Moran. And we had a really good interview also about the labor movement. And so that's in there as well. Go and check that out after this ends. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you. I'll see you tonight. Shout out Meidas Mighty. Thanks, everybody.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.